Hot,
Sticky.
hot and sticky for sure.
Are they in New Orleans?
Baton Rouge. Yeah, Baton Rouge.
How are you?
Yeah,
Never
Yeah, I
been to
heard
New Orleans.
that's not fun.
really. I was gonna say, I don't. The food's good. Exactly. Exactly.
Because you can't do anything to feel better. It's kind of like when you're in labor. It's that same thing. Hey, Mary.
Sit down and leave.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, well,
Hey, but I don't take any day for granted, though. Do your tell me next breath.
I got to tell him first.
There we go.
such a fun little man.
I tickled myself.
I didn't do that. That's what they said.
What I not do? I hadn't even been here. I've been watching baseball games.
Taking fun.
They should be.
Yes, we are. I talked to the
Oh, okay.
That needs to be put on the agenda. That's,
Yeah.
that ownership of that question is part of a civil lawsuit. So we can't hear anything now. So what I thought we'd do though is we post it so it keep you occupied.
It's a shame that they even charge somebody for doing something like that. I'm curious to see what them Robbins gonna have to say tonight. Mary's over there, yeah. Andy should be here because he called me and asked me if we had a
That's the guy
committee
called me today,
meeting.
want to know if I was going next year. You heard that?
What?
The guy called me, want to know if I was going. He said he heard that I was going. Yes, I heard you know that. That's good. That's for some reason. I don't know why. It's nice outside.
Maybe they're trying to test the water before they think if that's something they're gonna even consider. That's probably what it is. That's probably exactly what it is.
I responded. Shelley's not the expo this week.
Okay,
I
maybe
called.
that's what it is. Yeah, because I know that name.
I did too. I called.
Pull it up, Mark.
Andy asked me to give you 5 minutes.
Is that going wrong direction?
The boys got the same.
That's what it is.
We watched it till I went to bed about 10 or so. I never, because I got to fall in bed.
What's up, y'all?
I said, but I said, oh, I do too. I think
we'll bring
they
it up
really
then.
good time. I mean, they would. I don't know if I would want to be. Oh, goodness. How are you doing? I was coming from Austin last time. Thought I could make it. Oh, road construction, everywhere you turn, you know, from there to here. And just didn't make it back.
I saw Marcus channel. Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
He's working over there. He's a great. 10 plus.
Oh, 10
plus.
Oh, it's just like 10 bucks or something.
10 bucks. You know,
I'm going to tell you. Kenny worked at Arca with Brian. He's like, yeah, you know, so we talk about every time we see each other, you know, we chit chat. And the other day, he's like, to keep him involved with anything. He'd love to just have somebody, you know. But he seems so nice and just sweet. And he's always faithful about being there. He's here pretty much every day. That's what he said. Retired 5 years ago, and O'Brien said he was good as gold when he worked at Arca. Okay.
Yeah, I leave back to one. There's a lot to be said for that. We're going to start about 2 minutes.
Well, we got 6 and we don't have an ordinance.
Maybe sooner.
I said, we don't have an ordinance and we got 6 churches.
So I'm working straight right now, I suppose.
Gordon Wilbur's run a little bit late too, so Brad Lacey may end up speaking. Good evening, everyone. We proceed each council meeting with a word of prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would like, please feel free to join us.
Yeah, that's fine. If you'll bow with me. Our gracious Father, we thank you for the abundant blessings that you've given us. We just ask, Lord, for your wisdom and your guidance as we are stewards of this city that you have so graciously blessed us with. We just pray that every decision that we make will be in your interest and in the interest of the people that we represent. We ask this and many other things in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now call this meeting to order. Mr. Garrett, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Grimes?
Here.
Mr. Pruitt? Here. Miss Mel?
Here.
Mr. Ledbetter? Here. Miss Smith?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Miss Isby?
Here.
Okay, you should have received copies of the September 24th, 2019 City Council minutes. Any corrections, changes, or comments?
Make a motion for approval as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. If there are no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay, well, first up is our standing committees. Mr. Hawkins normally handles this. He's running a little bit late. I will handle that. First up is a resolution to approve the issuance of bonds for the purpose of assisting in the financing and acquisition, construction, and renovation of an industrial facility at property located at 1800 Sturgis. Mr. Wilburn is caught in traffic, but Mr. Lacey, I think, is here.
I'm waiting on you. Yeah, so this is a standard industrial revenue bond, just like we usually do for employers. This is a new company for us. They are not ready to be public. It is a good company. We're very excited to have them. This does involve the new core building, and so this would be in reference to their property tax abatement. So we're very excited about it, and it's a good step to rebuilding more manufacturing jobs here. So we would appreciate your support of the IRBs.
Yes.
Questions?
Mr. Wilburn's here. If anybody
Yeah,
has any
I'm sorry
questions.
I'm late.
That's okay. Traffic's bad right
Well,
now.
the Maumelle exit is underway, and they had it narrowed down there to 2 lanes. So.
Okay.
We'll be back, of course, with an ordinance at a future date that will name the company and have a lot more detail, but this is just to kind of get the process started.
Make a motion for adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Got a bunch of seconds on that. This is good news here. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett, would you call the vote, please?
Be resolution R 1952, All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Passes 8-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks.
Mr. Hawkins, we are on the second item of report of our standing committees. Item number 3 has been removed.
Okay.
So next year, I'll hand it off to you here.
Consideration to approve the nomination of Andrew Register to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board, and I move that we approve that nomination.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the nomination of Andrew how did I say, Mr. Hawkins?
Register.
Register.
I'm sorry.
To the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Passes 8-0. Mr. Harkins, the next item's one that's been removed.
Then we'll move to item 4, and it's a resolution authorizing the submittal of the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvement Grant. That's the CRISI, and commitment of funds for the Transportation Department. And Mr. Vinson, would you like to come forward and tell us all about this, please?
Sure thing. This
Thank
is a
you.
grant that Ms. Marcia Guffey has been helping us with. And the only thing I want to tell you is that the engineer's estimate there, as well as our estimated match, is a anticipated maximum. We have been talking with Union Pacific, hoping to get their help on this and a letter of commitment from them to support the grant. And we're still unsure whether or not the grant will be for full construction or just for environmental and engineering design. So if it's just for design, then it would be far less than this. This would only be if we applied for and were awarded full construction.
Very good.
Make a motion for adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
The R-1953. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Passes 8-0. Thank you, Finley.
Thank you.
Mr. Hawkins.
I believe that's it from my end, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I think it is too.
I was glad I was here to help you for 2 items.
We're glad you're here. Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Next up, we have the public service portion of the meeting. First up is we have a resolution accepting the low bid for a forced main, sewer main, for the Waste Department of Sanitation. You're not Joe Hopper.
You are.
We are asking you to approve this resolution. We only received 1 bid. The engineer's estimate on this, though, was $135,000, so we were comfortable with this.
Make a motion for adoption.
With the emergency clause.
We have a motion and a
On a
second
resolution.
to approve this resolution to accept the low bid from Paladin and Nash.
Oh, and the emergency clause.
I didn't see an
Thank you.
emergency clause in this one. This is
In the
not.
title,
Title.
but
It's just in the
we've never
title.
had it in a resolution.
I
do we?
know.
No, there's not.
Shouldn't
No,
be.
no, it's
Okay.
just a resolution.
That's what I'm-
All right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution for low bid from Paladin and Nash. Any discussion? Mr. Garrett.
The R-1954. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Passes 8-0. Thank you,
Thank
Jamie. Next, we have an item from our last council meeting. This falls under old business. It's a resolution to condemn the structure at 475 East Robbins, number 183. Chuck will be probably talking to this, as will Spencer, and then anyone in the audience who would like to address this. If you would, when you come up, if you would, state your name and address for the record, please.
Well, I met with Miss Bowden. Boy, I don't want no other of her places, and she says my demands are too harsh. I stated
Excuse
her
me,
slow-
would you state your name and address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm Sheila Miller. My name is Miller, and I live at 475 East Robin Street, Lot 183.
Thank you.
One of the questions I assumed y'all were going to ask me, and I spent quite a bit of time trying to put my thoughts to what I thought you'd want to know. Anyway, I met with her, and that went over like a hill of beans, because she thought I was going to care that she's upset about what I'm doing. Now, what do you think? Now, on that note, Amber met with her on my behalf, who works for Pastor Phil, Amber McPeterson. She said to Amber what she tried to say to me, but she caught herself. But she probably said a little harsh to Amber. But either way, I don't care that my demands are too harsh, too strong, and too much. I say her slumlordness is too harsh and too much. And the people out there have asked me to mention that the trailer park is overtaken with bed bugs. Main trailer for that would be behind trailer 157. He's now withholding his rent. His name is John. He's grew up with my kids. And if it's 157, he would be 156. And she got mad and stormed in his trailer during this uproar. And my daughter was there and saw it because her and John go back to school. And she's smarter than a fifth grader. She didn't say nothing to my daughter because my daughter would have told her what she thought about her, and that wouldn't have been kindly. John told her to get the out his house. It's overran with bed bugs. John said that she didn't inform him that it was bed bug renting when he got it.
Ma'am.
Ma'am, if you would, let's talk about.
Well, I just wanted to mention that because John
Let's talk
asked
about
me
the property
to.
at 183.
Okay, well, John asked me to mention that, and I told him I would.
Well, thank you. But let's just talk about the property at 183.
Well, 183, McPeterson met with her for me. I met with her. My demands are not too harsh. If I'm going to take another one of your trailers and I already don't want your water, and I'm sorry I should have brought John. That's why I gave you his trailer number. He's more than glad to talk to y'all. But I don't think my demands are too harsh to walk through another trailer and to look it over. She thinks that's too harsh.
Well, ma'am, we're here specifically for that property because
I don't
we're
want
basically,
it.
we're basically saying the one that you live in now is just uninhabitable. It's unsafe. It's unsanitary.
Well, that's true, but all of the trailers out there are unsafe.
And that may be, and that's an issue you can have with Mr. and Miss Imboden.
Well, I'm trying to get to the health department in Little Rock. Don't think I'm not on that.
Oh, I'm sure
But
you are,
they're
and
all
you can
uninhabitable.
follow up on all that. But as far as this property, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to give you a chance
Well,
to talk to Dr. Fletcher.
I'm hearing you out, and I have to stand firm with you because I'm the person y'all are trying to make homeless. And I've lived in these conditions, and I stood up to her. That's how the Arkansas laws for renters got involved, and I read that in my last statement. I have to stand firm and not back down because I am the one you're trying to make homeless, okay? The same way when John asked me to bring that up, I brought it up. My kid's an eyewitness to her booming off in there. She shouldn't be taking her attitude with what I'm doing and doing on behalf of everybody out on them. Take it out on me, because my skin is thick. I'm here because I'm strong enough to handle it.
And I see that you are.
I don't know. I guess we'll just go like this. I'd like to read y'all, and that way all of America gets to see it real good. We'll start with this
Is it
one.
limited to the property
Well, this is limited to my
183?
trailer. Yes, sir, it sure
Okay.
is. For city council, I'm no longer paying the Embodens rent as of October 1st for a trailer y'all find to be bad at the least in need of work. I have also let the Embodens know in writing their rent will stay in the bank until I get a livable place or can get out. Those laws are practices in other states, not of Arkansas, because Arkansas doesn't protect the renters.
That's correct.
We cannot come to a fair solution. That's the meetings I'm referring to. I've even allowed Amber McPeterson to meet with the Embodens on my behalf. She could not get a fair solution. And she helped y'all quite a bit with Brookside, so Amber knows exactly what she's doing. If that name doesn't ring a bell with y'all, it should. Okay, Amber's phone number's here, and I have her trailer number. Do you want that at this time? You should have it. Because Amber said she has no problem coming forward.
Now's the time.
We couldn't get to a fair solution. I no longer wish to rent from them, and they no longer wish to rent to me. Now, I've 100% stood up to them. That's why they don't want to rent to me, because they had no problem taking my rent up to October the 1st. For city council, this is why I thought they would be here to represent themselves. My rent was $300 when I took 183. Then I did all the work on it while moving in that made things look the same and more livable. But when I moved in and the stove went out. The stove caught on fire actually 2 times. The last one was an explosion. I told her, keep your stove. I now own the stove that sits in 183. But when I moved in, the stove went out 2 times. She got another one. It went out. The second explosion was too much because my granddaughter was putting a pizza in it, and it just popped and lit up. No. So I got a stove. I own that stove. The one that's in it now, I own it. And then the hot water tank. Now, this was a fight to be seen. Then the hot water tank went out. The tank went out. The water tank. She went off. She lost it. I told her I ain't buying one. She went off about that. But the deal was that she had to pay for things that cost a lot. I don't own this trailer, so I'm not putting one in it. Putting things in it that cost a lot. After much arguing with her, I got a hot water tank. When I have men to do the work, I try to come up with what I need. Y'all were told that last time. Because when I asked for what I need, she goes off. And I've made her list before, wrote out with needs. Because she came up with this new rule. If you made her list, she would get to it. That's a joke. That's a joke. She does not.
Can I, and I don't mean to cut you off, I just want to ask you a couple questions. Last time you were here, you kind of talked about the condition of the trailer and what you've had to deal with.
Yes.
This is all kind of issues.
Well, because I thought she was going to come in and defend herself on these things here.
And they're not here, I don't think. But I'm just saying that you agree with the inspector, and it's
I
really
agree
not.
with not being homeless. I will be living in my van with my pet,
Yeah.
which will give me no running water, which will give me no air. Oh, and I have medical papers from my doctor outside that he's given Conway Corp saying I have to have my air to breathe with my heart and my asthma and with my seizures. So you're putting me in a situation that can cost me my life. At least here I have electricity that allows me air. If you will give me 1 minute, I will go outside and get you that document from my doctor.
Ma'am, last time you were here, you talked about the condition of the trailer.
The condition of the trailer needs fixed, and the water needs fixed. But if you put me in my van, I have no bath and I have no air.
Extra time, and I think there's a lot of resources around town.
No, I've tried them. I've got a paperwork outside where all your no, there's not. No, there is not. Phil and them are not lying. There is nothing available to me that I have not been on the phone with, or that I cannot get on a list, and my name will not come up first. Do you understand? I could be on that list for years, or at least a year. No, sir, you are a liar. Faulkner County offers me and my family nothing. You offer me nothing but my van. Nothing. And I can prove it with one stepping out to my van. I can prove it that you offer me nothing other than to continue to live with a slumlord, because you will not and have not to this day fought to change the renter laws in Arkansas.
Well, I'm not the legislature, ma'am, and you
Well,
said
I'm
that you
here
don't-
to take on the legislator, and starting with Faulkner County Council. I will be homeless, and I have more documents outside to show my health through my doctor what will happen to me when you remove the only electricity source in which I have.
Could your health be a cause of where you live?
No, I was born like this. I was born with seizures. They knew that around the time that my seizures strain out my veins behind my eyes, it's straining out every muscle in my body, which destroys the muscles and the veins around your heart. I was born with it. I fight to live with it. Do you understand? I fought to be a rodeo rider, bull rider. I fought to be who I am. I told my grandmother, my mama is hard enough to live through, but grandma, I'm going outside and I'm playing in the dirt, live or die. So I will step outside and get you the document from my doctor. But you have no right to leave me without electricity that can cost me my life. So I'm going to let him step up here when I step out and get that document. So you can call Mr. McVeigh, Bill McVeigh, a liar.
Dr. Fletcher, do you have anything to add?
Go ahead.
Did you have anything to add, sir?
So on the options available to her, so
Amber's been on it.
I got it. Let me talk. It's okay. Okay. Let's take a break.
Okay, I trust you.
Okay. The options that are available to her and people in situations like this
it's severely limited. So with HUD housing, the wait is long. With the amount of income that she makes and what she has 2 dogs. So there's a lot of people in her situations. Dogs.
Pretty and me have been together 10 years. He tells my family when I'm sick by laying across me, I don't think we should have to be separated because I had the nerve to stand up to a slumlord. The other is my granddaughters, and my other daughters are standing up for him, but I don't think me and Pretty should have to be separated. Not one day. I paid and did everything I was supposed to do to have him.
So dogs are companions for a lot of people, and I think we would know that. We run into that with persons who are homeless on the street. They make that choice because a lot of places don't want to give up their animals, so I hope people will understand that. And then landlords that will rent with animals, the deposit is a lot higher than what she can afford. So the situation in which Ms. Sheila is in is a pretty dire one. And if I understand the ordinance correctly, voting to condemn it today, it gives it another 30 days. So I'm doing what I can. We're working with CAPCA to see what funds they have available. But even then, the issue becomes if CAPCA fills a gap typically for 6 months, once that 6 months is over, she's back in the same situation again. So,
and that's if CAPCA has the funds, but there's women up there in Naomi that are willing to pull every penny they can find. Me and Amber's working on that.
So, in the immediate,
I want to
the extra
that paper.
The extra 30 days.
You keep talking. I'm gonna get that paper from my doctor. I need out for a minute. I need out.
I trust you, man.
I need out for a minute.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sympathetic to putting anyone out.
Yes, sir.
But by the same token, and I'm not negative on this, she just said she didn't want to live there and she wasn't paying the rent there. Is that the way she started off this conversation? That she did not want to live there and she didn't want to pay the rent there? Well, and basically telling us that the place should be condemned.
Yes, I know, sir.
So where do you go from that? If she's telling us she don't want to live there and not paying the rent there and telling us not to condemn the place, but she's basically saying she's not going to live there. Then I mean, I understand the slumlord issue, but that's legislative. We don't have anything to do with that.
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to find out what is she telling you she wants to do when she's telling us one thing. And that's the way she started out. I'm not living there and I'm not paying the rent there.
Well, won't they evict her over time if she doesn't pay her rent? I mean, that's.
Yes, they would have to go through a process to evict her.
Yeah,
but Councilman Jones, on to your question, it is a mixed attention between she wants a place to live. She started this process with the understanding that the way enforcement was to work, that she was hoping that it would force the Mbodens' hand to fix their place in order that she would continue to go on to live. Since it is their property, they have no recourse, if you will, to fix it.
Okay. Do they have any other place that she can live in? Do you know?
There is another place that we are looking at.
I mean, Mbodens.
Mbodens.
At 475 East Robbins. Is anything else available?
We discussed number 169, but she don't want to fix it. She doesn't want me to do a walkthrough with Phil and Amber and me, and I'm sorry for interrupting you. That's the one.
Yeah. So I mean, so you have this issue where a landlord's like, you want to rent the place or not, and you're going to rent it typically in the contracts as is.
As is, yeah.
All right, and a renter is stuck with the situation of, if in an income basis this is all they've got, it's either be on the street or I'm gonna rent this place.
Take what they can get.
And in a situation like this, I can try to fix it, but then fixing it can come into a cost as well. I mean, if they want to do fixing to the outside, there's things they got to come down here to do to get permits and stuff, which costs money to fix it in some cases.
And Dr. Fletcher, you've been to her residence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beyond repair.
Correct. And I've been working with some people who are following this, and it's not in anybody's best interest or economic interest to fix the place. And part of it is I don't want to keep giving them money.
No.
To be honest with you.
Well, how bad is 169?
Well, I have one of my guys looking at it. He's sending me some pictures. The outside, it looks fine, but again, it's when you go on the inside. What's the roof like? What's the floors like? What is the plumbing like? Those main things.
We don't have the ability to force anyone to rent to her.
No, I know,
Right.
but he was saying that was available. I was just asking.
Right.
It
Here's
may
the
not
problem
be
with
available.
that,
Even though
too.
it may be empty, it may not be available to her.
Right.
Here's the problem with this too. This nice lady finds another place to live, and we don't condemn the trailer, they rent to somebody else, and somebody else is in your position. So we have to condemn the trailer. The trailer has to be condemned at some point and gotten rid of.
I'm not saying those.
Yeah, and it may be, the trailer very well may be on repair, it probably is, but until it's officially condemned and the clock's ticking, the inbones have no incentive to try to even fix it, and they won't.
Not at all.
They won't.
And 169 is where my kids' stepdaddy died with cancer, but my kids have a mental feeling for that trailer. And I went down and I looked at it even when the second party discussion was going on with Amber. No, I went down before Amber. I mean, I only went and looked at it because it means something to my kids, because we have been badly without Tony, because Tony would fix her property for us, and Phil has fixed her properties. I can't blame Phil anymore for wanting not to fix her properties. I can't blame him. But I'm passing this paper around because I have no reason to lie. I must have my electricity rather than live in my van. But before I give up Pretty, I will live in my van, and we will live our last days out together, whichever one goes first. And that's how old my dog is.
To move this discussion a little more along, I would like to throw out, is this a resolution or ordinance? What is it?
Resolution.
All right. All right. I move that we adopt the resolution to condemn. All right.
Second.
All right. So we officially made that motion or resolution. So now, if we pass this, it starts the clock ticking. You have 30 days. Okay?
Nowhere to go.
Well, you have 30 days.
I have nowhere to go.
You have 30
I
days.
have nowhere to go in 30 days. Unless you're going to let me live over at the jail starting tonight. I have nowhere to go but in my van. Do you understand?
Do you understand you have 30 days?
I have nowhere to go. There's no money. There's no means. I have nowhere to go.
Does she have family? Miss Miller, do you have
Okay,
family?
regardless. Okay.
No, and my daddy sure ain't stepping forward, so no, I have nowhere to go in 30 days but into my van. And I want to go on record saying that to him. I want all the United States to see me look this man in his face and say, in 30 days, you are condemning me and my dog to my van without electricity, with a letter I just gave you from my doctor saying she must have electricity.
You said you had family in Malvern last week.
No, I will not go and leave my grandchildren and my children in Conway. That is not an option. And I have a cousin.
You have family, correct?
Not to live with, no, because I can get a statement from my Aunt Peggy that my cousin's living in my grandma's house. It's not open to me. That can be arranged for you legally too. So I have nowhere to go.
I'm just going off what you said last time.
I could have went to Aunt Peggy's, but Brad is living in Grandma's house. My grandma passed away. Brad has took the house because no one else stepped up. He's living in my grandma's 3-bedroom house.
Excuse me, for Ms. Smith. Let's hear from code enforcement for just a moment, please.
Take a break.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Thank you, Dr. Fletcher.
Thank you all. My heart certainly goes out to Ms. Miller about this entire situation. I don't really have anything to add that hasn't already been said, and hopefully you've had a chance to watch the video that we provided. I just want to make a couple points. We spoke with Jody at Conway Corporation, and they tested the water out there. This is just a few matters of public interest, I think, since the last meeting, and things have been added today. The water in the park is good. Chlorine residual was at 1.07. And according to Jody, that's really good. That's in a really good range for healthy water that's being provided to the people living at the trailer park. Bob Imboden and I have been working together. After Brookside, Bob reached out to me, and he knew that we had been looking at trailer parks, having them under the microscope, and he wanted to make efforts to make his trailer parks safer and more sanitary and into compliance. And just a couple of issues, and this is dealing with the outside of the trailer parks, but something to note. Total cost to landfill dump year to date from Bob Imboden taking shipments of trash and garbage to the city landfill has been $2,014.50. Labor cost is at $2,700 year to date. Total trips to the landfill year-to-date has been 47, and he's dumped over 68 tons of trash out of that trailer park since I've been working with him. So I just feel like that's an important thing to mention, that there have been efforts made to at least keep the outside of the trailer park cleaner and into compliance. As far as Ms. Miller's issues, this is really in your hands. I don't believe there's anything I can add. So,
Thank you.
Maybe people wouldn't mind paying the $5 charge she charges you to haul stuff off if she wouldn't mind fixing the trailers we live in. So people feel, hey, our trailers are falling down on the inside. What's it hurt her to haul a little trash off? Why don't she get dumpsters out of there instead of having us pay Conway Corp for small trash cans? Matter of fact, she removed my trash can
Ms. Miller,
when this all came down, and I told her to bring it back.
We're dealing with trailer 183.
Okay, well,
we can't deal with the problems in the trailer park.
Okay, well, he just brought it up like it was an issue that the Bob and Bowden's been doing us a favor, only in their dreams.
All right.
And okay, she removed my trash can this time that I pay Conway Corp for. I got another trash can and told her don't do it again.
Okay. I'm going to bring this back for the council. Thank you, Ms. Miller. Council, you have a motion and a second to go ahead and start the condemnation process.
Yes.
So, any further discussion, comment? Mr. Garrett.
The resolution R 1955, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 8-0. 30 days starts. Ms. Miller, Dr. Fletcher.
I would request, Philip, if you would give us some updates on, get the mayor's office some updates on how things are going, please.
You don't care where I'll be. I want to leave. I'm going to be homeless, and they don't care. Thank you for making me homeless. Without the air I need.
Ms. Miller?
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
I got it, sir. I got it, sir.
Okay.
I do have a follow-up question. Spencer, could you hop up for a second? One follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
How many tons of garbage did you say?
How many tons of garbage? 68 tons of garbage have been hauled out of Oakwood Village Trailer Park.
Say, y'all need to stay in there.
Yeah.
Y'all need to sit down.
So this
Unless they
68
wanna
tons of
talk.
garbage is only worth $2,000 of a charge to the landfill?
But is it like $34 a ton? or
It's
something?
yes, it's something like that.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
so for commercial dumping.
Yeah, I may be wrong on my numbers,
All
but
right.
it's,
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I've got all the dump tickets. He made copies of them for
All right,
me.
just curious.
Anyway,
Sounds like a lot of garbage for a little bit of money.
yeah.
Wow.
Since you're up here, is this
Yeah.
the tip of the iceberg for this trailer park? Are there other trailers this bad out there?
I really couldn't say. This one was, Miss Miller invited me in, and once I had seen this, and as she pushed the issue, we got further down the road. I'm sure that there's some trailers out there that are in bad shape. She's the only person that I've had contact with to be invited in to look at it, that kind of thing. I would imagine that just by the age of some of the trailers, probably some of them are in bad shape. Typically, there's kind of an issue also of unauthorized work that happens in these trailers. Somebody will decide they need to tear this out or fix this or open this window up, and they don't have the skills, the money, or the abilities to repair it, and the landlords don't want to fix their mess. And that's kind of commonplace. So there's probably issues of repairs that have gone unaddressed. Yes, ma'am.
And I know that was a hard decision for everyone,
Fine.
but we've got to move down. Folks have got to have a safe place to live.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
Appreciate
Appreciate you.
Our last is our yearly resolution for the millage rates on personal property taxes. There's no change. This is really just a accounting issue for us. We just it has to be approved by the council. Chuck said we can do them all with one. What it is 2/10 of a mil for the animal shelter for the city of Conway, 4/10 of a mil for public recreation and playgrounds, 4/10 of a mil for operating and maintaining cemeteries, 4/10 of a mil for police pension, 4/10 of a mil for fireman's pension and relief fund, 4/10 of a mil for non-uniformed employees pension and relief, and 3 mils on real estate and personal property taxes for the general fund revenue.
No increase, there's no increases.
No increases. No.
Changes.
No change.
Approved every year.
Same as always.
Can we adopt these as one
Yes.
total? I make a motion for adoption of the resolution for the voluntary levy taxes, I guess, millage.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a resolution for our millage rates on personal property taxes, and there is no increase. This is really just a bookkeeping issue we have to take care of every year. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett, call the vote, please.
Resolution R 1956 through R 1962.
2.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 8-0. That's all we have tonight. I will be out of state at the next council meeting. Miss Mel will be out of state. It's up to you guys if y'all want to meet or wait.
Let's wait.
Just wait.
Just wait.
So do we need a motion to
I don't know, we have to
cancel or
have a
anything,
motion.
or?
Motion to cancel.
I'll take a motion to
So
not.
moved.
Okay.
Do we need to suspend the rules first and then make
Yeah,
a motion?
we do.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to cancel the next council meeting.
That's what I was dealing with today.
And we have a motion to do that, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 8-0. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
We need to move to
Got to
not meet
cancel the
next
meeting.
time.
Oh, I thought
Move
I
to
did that,
cancel
my
next
bad.
meeting.
We had to wait. till-
Waive the reading.
Anyway, agrees. So, Mayor, you made the motion, and who seconded it? And David seconded it to not meet the next meeting in 2 weeks. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Now we
Passes
make a
8-0.
motion to adjourn.
And I'll take that. Thank you.
Second.